To keep a horse in winning form throughout its career is not as easy as we would all like to believe.
Certainly, breaks definitely benefit horses. If one just refers to humans, no one can be at a peak for 12 months of the year. You know, whether you sit behind an office at a desk or you're an athlete, it's impossible to be at a peak for 12 months of the year. So horses are the same.
Horses do, as we all do, benefit from a break.
A break in racing is obviously good for any horse. I mean, it's like any kind of athlete. They need to rest, they need to recuperate.
What's the optimum time for a horse to be off the track?
If a horse is a bit tired and had a bit of racing, sometimes about 3 to 4 weeks is good enough. Even 2 to 4 weeks is fine.
If they're not injured, 2 weeks is literally enough. If there's no injury and they're healthy, 2 weeks is pretty much all they need. Back into work.
Even a week at a time makes all the difference to them, both physically and mentally. As they say, change is as good as a holiday.
Yeah. So how important is this information for punters? Well, short breaks from the track to freshen horses up will largely go by unnoticed by racegoers. But longer breaks will be apparent when assessing form and more particularly runs in the race card. And just as human athletes don't always find returning from a break in competition hassle-free, neither do all horses. It's said that the second run after a race can be below par. Do you believe this?
Yes, without a doubt.
It definitely is out there and it definitely does exist. It's not a myth.
What happens is you give a horse, trainers give a horse a bit of a break. They bring it back, it runs fresh, it runs well, and they go, oh, when can I nominate again? They can't wait. 2-3 weeks later, you see the horse back in a race, and the trainer's telling all the owners and telling everyone how the first run was a great run, it needed the run, and now it's ready. It's not ready. You've just dropped it over the top. You've in that one run, because it wasn't quite fit, it runs the race, and it's just running fresh, but it knocks them.
If a horse comes back from a long break and runs an absolute cracker, is in the firing line and they're riding him out and gets caught up in the finishing line in the first 3 or so, invariably, if the trainer runs him too soon after that, his second run is going to be flat, because a lot of effort is put into a horse that's supposedly not as fit as he should be, into his first run, and invariably he can run flat, and that's where that second run after layoff falls in.
It is a phenomena, and it all depends on how fit they are for the first run. If you've got them really, really super fit for the first run, they very seldom will what they call overseas bounce or have a second run after a layoff. However, if they're possibly a little underdone, that run, albeit a very good run, can hurt them.
Like we all do, you go to gym for the first time, you feel great, and you go and you hit all the weights, and the next day you can't walk. Same thing.
The big thing is to get over that first run, to get over all that muscle change and the wear and tear that they take.
A really hard first run up on a horse that is quite underdone can hurt that horse skeletally, physically, muscularly. Okay. And if they're not given enough time to recover from that, you will get the bounce factor for sure.
If the trainer gave him what I would say would be the ideal break is a minimal of 21 days from that very good run to his second run, then it doesn't count at all. The horse will come back and should be firing and run where he's expected to.
You've got to give time for the second run.
I would say a minimum of 3 to 4, probably 4 weeks is the ideal, if not more.
If you space their runs between their first and their second and give them a good solid gallop in between, very often that doesn't come into play.
We fall into the trap many a times, and my brother and I have cotton on now, so we just try to forget that horse for another 3 weeks. So if you bring it back after its first run, 3-4 weeks later, you may have a chance, but that's always the problem. People just get too keen.
There are horses entered in the Vodacom Durban July who will be lining up for what will be their second run after time away from competition. But it can be argued that trainers will be using the official race gallop as a last step in their preparation. How important is it for punters to be aware of breaks that horses have in racing and when they do come back?
Look, it's very important, but obviously the big stables, you can follow them, you can see that they try and make it 2 decent runs before the big one. But then again, those top horses are running in big races all the time. So, and those guys know that if they can't fit in that second run, or they miss one of those races, they've got to do the work at home to get them there.
I don't think one must ignore a horse coming, a good horse having a second run after a rest. If it's run well on its first run, it really should run well in its second run. I don't think, for me, my own experience, I don't think that's something to put a line through a horse.
And it's not hard to follow the form. It's not hard to see. You just got to be judged by the stables. I think you find a lot of horses will have 2 runs before they go into a race like the July or the Met.
When I look at your horses coming into big feature race days, you seem to have a momentum with them where they are raced fairly consistently. Is that your preferred way of getting a horse ready for a big group race?
100%. I mean, if I had my way and it's a sound horse, every 3 to 4 weeks you want them running. But you want them going in there battle hard and ready and super fit. I mean, it's no different to human athletes, you know. And when you get horses at a really good level, it's good to keep them going, you know, not to back off.